You were not born to carry a life that was predefined. You were born with an original consciousness. But the moment you entered this world, you were guided into a reality that no one ever asked you to question. Everything around you operates as if it is obvious, as if the limits placed upon you are natural truths. No one tells you that the first prison is not outside. It exists inside your own awareness. You grow up and begin to learn about the world through the mirrors of others. You are taught to be obedient, to follow the rules, to be like the majority. It all seems reasonable. Until one day you look around and realize that everyone is acting out the same story. Everyone follows rules that no one has ever asked why they exist. No one remembers who created them. No one questions whether they are right or wrong. They just continue to repeat because they believe it is the only way to survive. But there is another truth behind this reality. A truth that keeps most people from seeing the invisible prison surrounding them. We do not need guards. We do not need walls. Because every person becomes the warden of their own life, we are taught to obey, to be humble, to be careful. These words sound like good advice, but in reality they are the first programming that teaches you to fear yourself, to fear your own power, to fear being different, to fear the truth. The system works through a very intelligent mechanism. It does not use violence to control you. It uses agreement. It makes you believe that the existing limits are natural. It makes you believe that you are small. And that belief creates the prison you cannot see. When you believe you need protection, you lock yourself in. When you believe safety is more important than truth, you build the invisible walls around you. You carry chains in your consciousness long before anyone ever puts them on your hands. Look at how people live every day, repeating the work they do not want to do, staying in relationships they know are already over, living a life they did not choose. They are not forced. They are simply doing what everyone else is doing. And that is the most effective form of imprisonment. Because if everyone is the same, living the same, thinking the same, no one has a reason to question. No one has the desire to search for the truth inside themselves. This world has built a prison more sophisticated than any physical wall. It does not restrict you with law. It restricts you with the fear of differences. It does not need to control you directly. It only needs you to control yourself. When you want to do something different, the first voice that stops you is not the world outside. It is the voice inside that has been programmed for a very long time. The voice that says, do not go too far. Do not do that. Do not break the order. The real prison is not the circumstance. It is the belief passed from generation to generation. We teach children not to dream too big, not to ask too much, not to disturb, without realizing that every sentence is closing another door in their awareness. Every time we remind each other to be safe, we are participating in maintaining the program of control. There is no large system that needs to monitor us. We do it to ourselves. There are people who will never step out of this prison for their entire lives, not because they are not strong, but because they do not know it exists. And the most dangerous prison is the one the prisoner does not know they are trapped in. When you believe the limit is natural, you stop trying to overcome it. When you believe you are small, you stop looking at the power within you. When you believe the world requires you to fit in, you stop living your true essence. But this prison was never the truth. It only exists because you believe in it. Every limit you see out there actually begins from the limit inside your mind. Life did not lock you away. You locked yourself first. Not because you are weak, but because you forgot the most important truth. You were always free before anyone told you that you were bound. You were always infinite before someone asked you to be small. This truth does not need to be learned. It only needs to be remembered. Every power you are searching for has never left you. Every door you think is closed is only an illusion created by fear. This invisible prison does not need a revolution to be broken. It only needs one thing: a moment when you open your eyes, a moment when you ask a question, a moment when you look within and realize the wall never existed. That moment is the first step that leads you back to your true self. Not the version the world wants you to become, but the version your soul has always known. When you see this prison, it begins to dissolve. When you step out of it, the world will never look the same again, because you are no longer the prisoner. You become the one who remembers. And that is the first real freedom. You do not forget your power by accident. This forgetting is not your fault. It is an architecture built layer by layer, level by level, detail by detail, until you believe it is a natural part of life. Everything begins when you are too young to realize you are being programmed. You learn to see the world through the eyes of others. You learn to believe in stories without ever asking where they came from. Family is the first layer of this architecture. It does not come from malice. It comes from fear. Those who came before pass down to you what they believe is safe. Do not run too far. Do not try something new. Do not be different. They think they are protecting you from the world, but they are unknowingly protecting the world from you, because the world fears the consciousness it cannot control. The world fears freedom. It fears power that cannot be predicted. It fears the eruption of a being that has never accepted a mold. Next is school, a system built not to activate thinking but to standardize it. You are taught to have the right answer. You are not taught to ask the right question. You are asked to memorize. You are not encouraged to explore. You learn to wait for instruction. You learn to follow structures. You learn to accept that someone else knows better than you. Every deviation is corrected back into the old pattern, and day by day, month by month, year by year, people lose the ability to hear their inner voice. Society is the final layer that completes the architecture of forgetting. You are taught to pursue success based on common standards, to achieve what others consider important, to live a life safe enough and normal enough so no one questions. And you do not realize that this normality is the mask hiding the truth. It is not the path your soul chose. It is only the path you were directed into. No one tells you that every mold is a product of collective fear. This system does not operate through violence. It operates through habit, through repeated words every day. You must endure. You must choose safety. You must be like the majority. Every reminder is a brick in the wall. There is no force more powerful than the one you believe is natural. No one stands behind you commanding you to limit yourself. You do it on your own. No one locks the prison door. You close it yourself. The most frightening part of this architecture is that it makes you believe your actions are your own choice. You think you are choosing the right thing, but you are only repeating what the world programmed into you long ago. When a child asks why, we tell them to be obedient. When someone wants to step outside social standards, we call them reckless. When someone does something different, we warn them of the risk. No one realizes that every warning is a piece of the architecture preserving collective forgetting. Very few people see this, because this system does not try to hide. It only makes you believe that conformity is natural. It makes you believe safety is more important than freedom. It makes you think truth lies outside, in books, in authorities, in the rules society builds. But truth does not lie there. Truth lies within you. It never left you. It is only covered by layers of programming. These layers pile up over time and create something dangerous. You begin to mistake programming for your true nature. You begin to believe you are small. You are the one who needs guidance. You are the one who must obey. You are the one who must be accepted. You do not realize that beneath all of that there is a being that has always been awake, a being that has never been controlled, a being that knows exactly who it is. You just cannot hear its voice anymore. The architecture of forgetting does not stop there. It goes deeper. It makes you doubt your intuition. Every time you want to act differently, every time you feel something is wrong in this reality, every time your soul calls you in a different direction, immediately a voice appears inside you. The voice of doubt, the voice of warning, the voice of rules that the world built within you. That voice is not yours, but you think it is. And here is the most important part of this entire architecture. The system does not need to convince you that you do not have power. It only needs to make you forget that you once had it. It does not need to destroy your potential. It only needs to make you question it. Because just one moment of doubting yourself closes every door. Not because the world closed them, but because you no longer dare to touch them. But there is one thing this architecture cannot reach. It cannot destroy your true essence. It can only hide it. Because the soul cannot be programmed, it can only be forgotten. And the one thing the system fears the most is not a collective rebellion. It fears a single awakened individual. Because when one person sees the truth, when one person begins to remove the layers of programming, when one person begins to hear the inner call again, this architecture will begin to collapse. Remembering is not an act of fighting the system. It is an act of freeing yourself from the programming you once mistook as your thinking. Every question you ask is a brick falling. Every false belief you identify is a wall cracking. Every moment you choose truth over fear is a step back to your original essence. The prison of forgetting is not built of steel. It is built of the stories the world tells you about yourself. But that story is not destiny. It is only a temporary blueprint. And when you see the architecture of it, you are no longer the one trapped inside. You become the one dismantling it layer by layer, because you always have the right to step out. That right has never been taken away. That power has never left you. It is still there, waiting for the moment you remember. You do not learn to become powerful. You are only remembering what your soul has always known before you entered this world. There is a primordial memory that exists within you, a memory older than all religions, all civilizations, all belief systems. It lies beneath language, beneath identity, beneath programming. It is the part of you that has never been touched by time or history. That part is still intact and waiting to be awakened. The ancient civilizations understood this clearly, not through belief or myth, but through direct experience. The Egyptians did not see humans as inferior beings seeking salvation. They saw humans as an extension of divinity. The Gnostics said the kingdom is within, not in heaven, not in the future, but in the deepest layer of consciousness. The ancient philosophers saw the human as the gateway through which the universe becomes aware of itself, not as the seeker of truth, but as the truth itself discovering its form. This has never been distant knowledge. It has only been covered by generations of forgetting. You carry within you the seed of what the ancients called the all is mind, all is consciousness. Everything is one single stream flowing according to the laws of awareness. You are not a small being trying to survive in a vast universe. You are the universe experiencing itself through the shape of a human. These are not mystical philosophies. They are the precise description of how reality is created. When you think, you do not just create emotion, you create frequency. That frequency enters the field. The field responds. And what you call reality begins to appear as the reflection of inner consciousness. The ancient civilizations did not need modern science to prove this. They saw it operating in every action, every dream, every moment of silence. You do not need anyone to teach you this because it is already encoded in your spiritual DNA. When you hear these words, you do not feel they are new. You feel as if you are remembering, as if you have known them for a very long time. That is the primordial memory being activated, a memory that transcends eras, transcends logic, transcends every model of the modern world. We are not separated from our origin. We simply forget the connection. Ancient teachings always reminded humans that we are not beings trying to climb a spiritual ladder to reach enlightenment. We are already enlightened. The problem has never been lack. It has always been layers of covering, not the absence of the soul, but the dust of belief. Not that we are inferior, but that our awareness has been distorted by the voices of the world. This is why every system of control tries to separate humanity from its primordial memory. Because when you remember, all power structures collapse. When you realize consciousness is your true nature, no one can force you into a mold. No one can make you believe truth lies outside. No one can make you think you need someone else's permission to live your true nature. The ancient memory within you is not stored in thought. It is stored in stillness. When the mind stops chasing meaningless questions, when the noise of the old world no longer influences you, when you stop trying to become someone else, that is the moment the ancient memory rises. It comes out of the shadows like a source of light, and you feel that you have never been alone, never been separated, never been limited. There is a moment when everything you learned from the modern world suddenly becomes small, when you understand that truth does not lie in belief, not in knowledge, not in accumulation. It lies in this clear feeling, the feeling that you were once part of something greater, more magnificent, more divine. Not in the religious sense, but in the sense of direct experience of limitless existence. Those who lived in ancient times did not seek truth outside. They sought inward. They understood that every religion, every philosophy, every belief system is only a small path leading to the same thing. Understanding your true nature, truth has never been out of reach. It has only been hidden by layers of programming about smallness. But when one person looks within, when one person truly listens to that primordial voice, all the layers begin to dissolve. Awakening is not the journey of becoming something else. It is the journey of removing what you are not, the layers of fear, the layers of doubt, the layers of conditioning. When each layer falls away, your true self begins to reveal itself. And what the ancient civilizations always knew becomes clear. You are not a human trying to find your way home. You are the home. You are not a soul separated from its origin. You are the origin discovering its form through this life. This memory has never disappeared. It only waits for the moment you are ready to face the truth. A truth passed down through thousands of years, yet never old. You are a fragment of the infinite. You are consciousness becoming aware of itself. You are not searching for divinity. You are remembering it. And when this ancient memory rises, reality is no longer a prison. It becomes a gateway that opens only for those who dare to look within and call back their true self. There is no dark force standing behind your life pulling the strings. There is no secret organization silently controlling humanity like the theories scattered across the world. What controls most of human life is something much simpler, but also more powerful than any power structure that has ever existed. It is fear. Fear is not just worry in the mind. Fear is the background program running through the thoughts and behavior of an entire civilization. Fear disguises itself very well. It never appears in its true form. It wears the mask of logic. It hides behind what is called responsibility. It takes the face of wisdom. You think you are choosing what is best for yourself. But if you look more closely, you will see that most of the decisions you have ever made did not come from freedom. They came from fear. Fear of being wrong, fear of failure, fear of being judged, fear of being unsafe. Observe how fear shapes this world. Fear makes people choose the safest path, the path everyone else is walking. Fear makes you hide your truth to fit the expectations of society. Fear makes you hold on to relationships, are empty. Fear makes you continue the work your soul no longer belongs to. Fear makes you live a smaller life just to be seen as normal. What makes fear powerful is not its nature, but the way it is rationalized. People do not tell you they are afraid. They tell you they are being careful. People do not say they are running away from themselves. They say they are being thoughtful. Fear always disguises itself as something respectable. And when it wears the mask of morality or intellect, no one realizes they are serving it. This is the most dangerous part of a system operating on fear. It does not need violence to control you. It needs you to believe your choices are reasonable. It needs you to believe you are acting for safety, for responsibility, for others. It makes fear a natural part of thinking. And when fear becomes natural, you no longer realize you are being controlled by it. Fear does not only live in human actions, it lives in the smallest words, in the way we teach children, in the way we speak to each other, in the unconscious warnings passed from one generation to the next. Do not be too different. Do not take too much risk. Do not leave the path. Every sentence is a push that moves people away from their true self. You can see this clearly in the moment you want change. Every time you want to step into a new chapter, a voice rises inside you and asks, what if you fail? What if others do not agree? What if you make a mistake? That voice is not your intuition. It is fear implanted since the earliest years. Fear does not need to control the whole world at once. It only needs to control each individual. Because when you are governed by fear, you become part of the system that keeps control alive. You do not just imprison yourself. You warn others. You prove to them that safety is the right choice. You remind them to be careful. You encourage them to continue living a life that fits the expectations of society. No one needs to stand in a position of power to stop you from living your true nature. You do it for yourself, and you do it for others without meaning to. This is how fear turns humans into the guards of their own prison. Not through violence, but through agreement. Not through force, but through habit. When fear operates in the mind, you will always choose the smallest version of yourself. Fear makes you believe the world is too big and you are too small. Fear makes you believe every decision must come with guarantees. Fear makes you believe you must fit the pattern of the majority. The one thing fear cannot give you is truth, because truth never comes from fear. Truth only comes from your original essence. There is one important point most people never see. Fear does not appear on its own. It is passed down. It is reinforced by the story of society, by media, by the experience of others. It is fed every day by the language we use, by advice that sounds reasonable, by rules that seem to protect us from risk. But the truth is, fear has never protected anyone from anything. It only protects the world from our awakening. Fear is not the nature of the soul. It belongs only to the programmed layer of awareness. When you continue to live according to fear, you are not living your own life. You are acting out a script written by others, and when you believe fear is necessary, you become the one who reproduces the program everywhere you go. But it is from this exact point that you can see how to break the system, not by fighting or destroying it, but by realizing fear is not the truth. Fear is not your protector. Fear is not the voice of intuition. When you look directly at it, fear loses its power. When you call it by its true name, fear dissolves. When you realize fear is just a layer of programming, you begin to live by another principle. Your true nature has never been fear. Your true nature is the ability to see through it. Fear cannot control someone who has realized their own power. That person does not need acceptance, does not need protection, does not need the guarantee of the world. That person acts from the frequency of truth, not the limits of fear. The system that runs on fear only exists when you continue to believe in it, when you stop, when you look at it, when you realize it is only a mask. Every structure built on fear will begin to collapse. And that is not the collapse of the old world. It is the rebirth of your true self. Because once you step out of the cycle of fear, no system can ever touch you again. You do not become an infinite being by changing yourself into a new version. You return to the infinite being by removing everything that does not belong to you. No one gives you power. No one lifts you out of limitation. No one opens the door for you. You are simply remembering what your soul has never forgotten. You have always been part of something greater than all definitions. You are only covered by layers of programming, fear, expectations, and the stories of the old world. This return is not loud. It does not happen like a battle. It happens in silence. Because your true nature has never disappeared. You only stop seeing it when your awareness is crowded by false beliefs. From childhood, you are taught to become something, to prove, to succeed, to be recognized. But what the world never tells you is that you do not need to become anything. You only need to return to what you already are. Look at the moments when you feel suffocated by life. That is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign that your true self is knocking. Every sensation of not belonging, every moment you feel something is wrong with this life, every time you sense that life can not only be this, all of them are reminders that you were not born to live within limitations. You were born to surpass them. Not by the strength of the body, but by the strength of awareness. Humans are not trapped because they are weak. They are trapped because they believe they are small. When you believe these limits are true, you will live exactly that way. You will shrink yourself to fit the expectations of the world. You will choose safety instead of transformation. But when you turn back and look directly at your essence, you will see that you have never been small. You are only living under the conditions others placed upon you. The return of the infinite being does not happen when you change the external reality. It happens when you transform from within, when you begin to remove each layer of old awareness, when you begin to see the artificial nature of fear, when you begin to question the constraints that once kept you silent, when you accept to step into your truth without asking for anyone's permission. That moment is the moment reality shifts. The field does not respond to your desires. The field responds to your true frequency. If you are living in fear, the field gives you the reality of fear. If you live in belief in limitation, the field gives you the reality of limitation. But if you live as your infinite being, the field reflects that reality back to you, not according to human time, but according to the time of the soul, which means instantly, the first thing you realize in this return is that you do not need to prove anything. You do not need anyone to understand. You do not need to convince the world you are right. You only need to live aligned with your awareness. Awakening does not need approval from others. It only needs your honesty with yourself. When you stand in that truth, everything around you begins to change. Not because you try to change it, but because it cannot continue to exist when you no longer live according to the old program. Those who fear awakening will call you reckless. Those who are controlled by fear will call you irrational. Those who are not ready will try to hold you back. Not because they are bad, but because you remind them of what they forgot. Your difference makes the old world uneasy, but that does not mean you are wrong. It only means you are stepping into the territory most people never dare to touch. The return of the infinite being is not an act of rebellion, it is an act of memory. When you remember your essence, you no longer fit into the old limitations. You no longer accept a life lived through fear. You no longer stay in relationships that no longer nourish your soul. You no longer do what makes you shrink yourself. You choose truth even when it requires you to leave the comfort zone. What awakens people is not effort, it is realization. You are not trying to find your true being. You are returning to what you have always known. And when that happens, everything in your life begins to rearrange itself. The doors you thought were closed begin to open. The opportunities you thought did not exist begin to appear. The constraints you thought were impossible to overcome become meaningless. The return of the infinite being does not happen in a single moment. It happens every time you choose truth instead of fear. Every time you choose to hear your own voice instead of the world's voice. Every time you choose to stand in the light of awareness instead of the darkness of doubt. Each decision shakes the foundation of the old prison. Each decision creates a new vibration in the field. You do not become infinite. You only put down the restraints that once covered you. And when you put down each layer, the infinite being begins to reveal itself more clearly. You live more expansively. You no longer wait for permission. You no longer ask reality to change. You create that reality from your own awareness. The infinite being has never left you. It only stepped back when you believed you were small. When you remember, it steps forward. It does not need proof. It does not need to seize power. It only needs you to see it. And when you see, all limitations become fragile. All structures of control become meaningless. All fear becomes irrelevant. Your return is not the beginning of the journey. It is the point where you step into the reality you have belonged to for a very long time. The initiation of the infinite being is here. The moment you remember what you have always been, you do not break the illusion with forceful action. You break the illusion the moment you see the truth. Everything that once seemed certain, every belief that once felt unchangeable, every limit you once thought was natural, suddenly becomes fragile when you realize they never had a real foundation. They existed only because you believed in them. And the moment you stop believing, the illusion begins to crack. One day you wake up and realize you have been living the life others wanted. You see that your choices did not come from the soul but from fear. You realize that what you called safety was actually chains. That moment is an explosion of awareness, not through noise, but through clarity. You no longer try to become something. You observe what is operating inside you, and you see the clear difference between the voice of fear and the voice of the soul. This is when reality begins to respond. The field does not wait for you to change external circumstances. The field responds the moment you change within, when you dare to ask the question, when you dare to stand still in the chaos, when you dare to step out of the patterns taught to you when you were too young to choose. You are doing what most humans never do. You are stopping and looking directly into the artificial nature of reality. The illusion of this world is not built with truth, It is built with stories that generations have accepted. You must live like this. You must believe this. You must follow that. But you no longer belong to that story. You can feel it in every cell of your being. Something is calling you beyond the old boundary. Change is no longer just an idea. It has become the need of the soul. The illusion does not dissolve by fighting it. It dissolves when you see it is only smoke, when you see that this system exists only when you continue to feed it with obedience. When you see that programmed fears can only exist when you continue to believe in them. When you see that the only thing stopping you is never the outside world, it was the old layer of awareness inside you. The moment you see the illusion, the world is no longer the same. You no longer act from fear, you act from truth. You no longer choose safety, you choose what is aligned with the soul. You no longer seek approval, you seek honesty in every decision. And something remarkable happens. External reality begins to change, not because you try to change it, but because you no longer fit into its old version. You begin to see that what you once thought was a limit was only a door not yet opened. The roads you once thought were dead ends are actually intersections leading to new directions. The situations you once thought were traps are invitations to deeper awareness. When the illusion breaks, you see the world not as a place that confines you. The world becomes a mirror reflecting your expansion. The most important element in this moment is silence. Not the silence of surrender, but the silence of clarity. When you are no longer pulled by fear or expectation, you stand in a state that those who have never touched it won't understand. A state of deep observation, a state where everything becomes transparent, a state where you see what most of the world can not see, the truth that you were never limited. You do not need to shout to the world that you are awakened. You only need to live as someone who is awakened. When you walk by truth, when you speak from truth, when you act from your original essence, everything old falls away. No need to destroy it. No need to fight it. What does not belong will disappear when you no longer hold on to it. The moment the illusion breaks is also the moment you realize something profound. You do not need to change the world. You only need to change the frequency you choose to live by. When you change frequency, the field changes reality. When you change awareness, the field changes everything that reflects into your life. This is not a promise. This is the mechanism of consciousness operating throughout the universe. Breaking the illusion is not a one-way journey. It is the process of moving through each layer of old awareness, each time you choose truth instead of safety. Each time you ask the question the world does not want you to ask. Each time you step out of fear. Each time you stand in the light of the soul. Every step is a crack in the wall of illusion. Every step is a signal sent to the field, and the field cannot ignore it. When you see the illusion break, you cannot go back. You cannot return to living as the old version of yourself. You cannot accept the limits as truth. You cannot do what your soul has already outgrown. You enter a new chapter, a chapter where you do not live by fear. You live by remembering. You live by the power of your being. You live by the frequency of truth. The moment the illusion breaks is not the end. It is the beginning. The point where your life is redesigned from the deepest layer of consciousness. And when you step into that point, there is no question anymore about what you can become. There is only one truth. You are the creator of reality, and you always have the right to step into a more expansive version of yourself. You do not send your first signal into the field through words. You send that signal through being, through the inner state you choose in this moment. No one is waiting for you to be perfect. No one requires you to become a new person before you step into the reality of your soul. The field does not respond to the role you play. It only responds to what you truly are. The moment you stand in your truth, even if you still doubt, even if you still hold wounds, even if you still do not know the next step, the field has already received the signal. Because the field does not operate by human logic, it operates by frequency. A frequency that cannot be faked, cannot be disguised, cannot be produced by willpower. It only appears when you live as your original essence. Look at the moments when your life changed the most. They never happened because you calculated perfectly. They happened when you dared to move, even without guarantees. When you dared to speak a truth, even when afraid of rejection. When you dared to choose your being instead of others' acceptance. That is when the field responded. Reality does not shift because you dream about it. Reality shifts because you become the frequency of it. What most people do not understand is that true power does not lie in action. It lies in awareness. An action born from fear will only create more circumstances that reflect fear. But an action born from truth will shift an entire timeline. The old world uses fear to operate. The field uses consciousness to restructure. And the moment you send your first signal into the field, you begin to rewrite reality. You do not need to destroy the old version of yourself. You only need to refuse to keep living from it. When you tell yourself quietly, I choose truth, I choose freedom, I choose my soul, your frequency changes. And that activates movement in the field. You do not need evidence first. Evidence comes later, when you send the signal first, when you stand in your being first. This is not theory, it is the mechanism of reality. The field does not reflect your thinking. The field reflects your state. Not what you want, but what you are becoming. Not what you try to believe, but the truth inside you. When you step into the state of the infinite being, every door you once thought was closed will begin to open. Without exception, many people wait for the world to change before they change, but the field does not work that way. Reality does not precede awareness. Awareness precedes reality. When you shift your perspective, when you shift how you see yourself, when you shift the level of consciousness you live from, the field will move the pieces of reality to reflect that. It does not need time, it needs a signal. The moment you send your first signal into the field, you are stepping out of the old system where most of humanity is asleep. You no longer live by fear, you no longer wait for permission, you no longer wait for perfect conditions. You no longer follow rules that are not yours. You begin to live by a different principle, the principle of the soul, the principle of inner freedom. The old world will try to pull you back, not because it is stronger than you, but because you are moving out of its agreement. Warnings will show up, doubts will show up. People familiar with your old version will not know how to face you, but that is only the natural reaction of the old system when it feels threatened. Not a sign that you are wrong, but a sign that you are stepping into a new level of consciousness. And then something strange happens. When you walk by truth, those who do not belong to your old journey will naturally fall away, and those who belong to your new journey will appear. No need to search, no need to prove. The field will clear the path. The field will rearrange everything according to the frequency you live by. Because the field cannot reflect the opposite of your true essence. Remember that no signal from the soul is small. One moment you say no to fear. One moment you choose truth. One moment you live as your essence. That is a signal into the field. And the field responds with a new life. No miracle required. No logic required. No plan required. Because your transformation is the miracle. Your first signal is not a grand declaration. It is a silent decision within. No longer choosing fear. No longer choosing limitation. No longer choosing to shrink. When you send that signal, you are telling the field that you are ready to step into your true life. And that alone is enough for reality to begin to move. From here, you are no longer the seeker. You become the creator. You no longer ask what will happen. You know the field is responding. You no longer wait for the world to accept you. You accept your own being. And that is the first voice of the soul sent into reality. A simple signal, yet powerful enough to change every timeline. Your awakening does not begin with a miracle. It begins with choosing your truth.